Ladies and gentlemen, Netflix is preparing a character for One Piece Season 3 that will define one of the most important turning points of the entire One Piece live-action adaptation. Season 3 is getting close, and there is one character standing in front of us where Netflix's biggest test truly begins. I'm talking about Bon Clay. For a lot of people, he is just a comedy figure in colorful clothes who does weird dances. But for me, and for real One Piece fans, he is the hidden soul of the story. So let me say this to Netflix right from the start. If you see Bon Clay as just meme material, just a clown who makes people laugh, then you have already lost this from the beginning. Because Bon Clay is one of the most critical reasons Luffy survives on his journey to become king of the pirates. If this man did not exist, the crew would not have escaped Arabasta, and Luffy would not have made it out of that hell alive either. So handling this character correctly actually means understanding One Piece's famous philosophy of friendship the right way. And when you think of Bon Clay, do not just think of the main Nomi. Yes, he can copy the face and voice of anyone he touches, and that is an incredible power. But behind that power is a man who has moved beyond identity itself, someone who believes only in pure loyalty. He is not just an agent. He is someone who carved out his own path in life, someone who fully devoted himself to the Okama way, a monument of honor. Netflix needs to focus not just on this character's appearance, but on that unshakable will inside him. Remember when he first met the Straw Hat crew? There was no hostility there, and no hidden agenda. There was only a pure, natural, and incredibly fun bond that formed. That is exactly the magic Netflix needs to capture in live action. Because the bond between Bon Clay and Luffy did not break, even after they realized they were enemies. And that is the first major sign of how deep this character really is. But everything changes in Arabasta. Bon Clay stands in front of us as one of the most dangerous members of Baroque works. At that point, he is no longer just a lovable friend. He is a professional agent carrying out Crocodile's orders. And this is exactly why I love this gray area so much. The fact that Bon Clay can be both a truly good friend and an incredibly dangerous enemy pushes him far above one-dimensional characters. Especially think about that legendary fight with Sanji. Remember the level of resistance Bon Clay showed against someone as disciplined and powerful as Sanji. He was not just dancing there. He was fighting for his honor, for his ideals. Netflix needs to frame that fight not just as an action scene, but as the beginning of the mutual respect between two characters. If they cannot deliver the seriousness and the style of that fight, then his identity as a warrior will feel incomplete. And now we come to the real core of the video, that great sacrifice. When the Marines surrounded the crew and escape looked impossible, what did Bon Clay do? He threw his own life aside and disguised himself as the Straw Hats. He sacrificed his own freedom so Luffy could continue forward. That is the moment when the audience says, this man is not just funny. He is a real hero. Netflix needs to drive that sad but proud feeling straight into our hearts in that scene. But the place where he truly becomes legendary, the place where all of our throats tightened, is Impel Down. When Luffy descended into hell itself to save Ace, who did he find there again? Bon Clay. And from that moment on, he was no longer just a side character. He became the savior at the very center of the story. Is it even possible to forget that the man dragging Luffy's poisoned body through that freezing cold was Bon Clay? When Netflix eventually gets to the Impel Down scenes, they need to focus more on emotion than on CGI or budget. While Luffy is barely hanging on, writhing in agony from the poison, Bon Clay standing outside that freezing chamber for hours screaming "Live." That scream is not just a sound. It is an explosion of loyalty. If the actor can bring that pure pain and hope to the screen in that moment, then the live action will make history. And what about that famous escape moment? At the gates of justice, when everyone is about to make it out, and Bon Clay once again leaves himself behind? That moment when he says, "Words are unnecessary for farewells," that is Bon Clay. He is always the man who leaves his own life in darkness, so someone else's light can shine. If Netflix does not deliver this tragic side of him, then all we will get is a colorful clown, and that would be a huge injustice. And when you look at where his story ends up, you realize just how tragic and at the same time how inspiring he really is. Bon Clay is the definition of true friendship in the world of One Piece. He is not perfect. He is a criminal, an outlaw, but his heart is cleaner than that of most heroes. Netflix absolutely has to preserve the flawed beauty of this character in the live-action adaptation. That is exactly why, for Season 3, my excitement is just as big as my fear. Playing Bon Clay is not just about dancing. It means feeling the deep loneliness inside him and that hunger for friendship. It means being able to see the human emotion beneath all that makeup. If Netflix creates only a cartoonish character, then they will leave out one of the most important pieces of the One Piece spirit. At every step on Luffy's road to becoming king of the pirates, there is actually a mark left behind by Bon Clay, from Arabasta to Impel Down. If Bon Clay had not been there, the story would have ended a long time ago. He may not be an official Straw Hat member, but he is definitely the crew's honorary heart. That is what I want to keep emphasizing in the video. People need to understand this man's weight. So do you think Netflix can actually find that balance? Or are they going to turn Bon Clay into some goofy joke character built only to go viral on social media? That is my biggest fear. Because when we watch live action, we do not just want action. We also want those character bonds that make us cry. And Bon Clay is one of the strongest links in that chain. As cinematic cravings, I am not going to let this character go. Because characters like Bon Clay are the ones that take a story from good to legendary. Handling him the right way means understanding One Piece the right way. I just hope the people at Netflix realize what this character means to the fans. As we come to the end of the video, I want to ask you this. For you, in which scene did Bon Clay become legendary? Was it in his fight with Sanji, or in that unforgettable sacrifice in Impel Down? Let's show Netflix in the comments just how much we love this character. Because this character truly deserves every bit of praise and the highest level of care. And do not forget, just like Bon Clay says, the Okama way is neither the path of man nor woman. It is the path a human chooses for themselves. And that path is built with sacrifice, with tears, but most of all, with unshakable friendship. I cannot wait to see that spirit on screen. If Netflix gets this right, then that is when they will have truly earned the right to say they succeeded. And one final note, Bon Clay is not just a character, he is a statement. He is the voice of those who stay beside their friends in hard times, of those who do not hesitate to sacrifice themselves. I hope Netflix does not silence that voice, but instead lets the whole world hear it. I am waiting for the day we get to watch him and feel both joy and pride at the same time. Loved Bon Clay that much when he first appeared. In fact, at the beginning, I did not really like the character. He felt a little too exaggerated to me, so I could not connect with him that much. Even though he had some great scenes, he did not leave that huge of an impact on me during my first watch. But then time passed, and when I started watching One Piece for the second time, I felt very differently about Bon Clay. This time, the things he did, his emotions, and especially his friendship side landed with me so much more. Scenes that did not affect me that strongly the first time felt completely different on my second watch, and from that point on, I really started loving Bon Clay a lot more. So I really hope they handle this character beautifully in the live action too, because when he is done right, he truly becomes the kind of character people can form a deep bond with. The way I ended up falling in love with him later on, I hope we get to feel that same emotion again in the series, and I hope watching this character turns out to be a genuinely great experience. And as we close the video, let me ask you one more time, for you, in which scene did Bon Clay become legendary? In that honorable fight with Sanji? Or in Impel Down when he screamed, "Live," and threw away his own life without hesitation? Please write in the comments what this character means to you so we can talk about it. And if you enjoyed the video, do not forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to support us. Take very good care of yourselves, and do not forget to stay tuned so you do not miss any developments. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.